got one that can see.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. As we are following some breaking news right now, officials are holding a press conference at Newark Liberty International Airport after the FAA posted this to social media. We're now learning about a telecommunications outage that did happen this morning. Let me read this to you in full. It says, this information is preliminary and subject to change. There was a telecommunications outage that impacted communications and radar display at Philadelphia Area C, which guides aircraft in and out of Newark Liberty International Airport airspace. The outage occurred around 3:55 a.m. on Friday, May 9th. That's this morning. It lasted approximately 90 seconds. This comes also after the FAA issued a ground stop at Newark Liberty International Airport this morning as well, but that was due to construction. That ground stop was in effect until 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, so that has expired. But just to recap with you here, last week, air traffic controllers at the FAA facility in Philadelphia lost radar and radio signals while directing planes to Newark for nearly 90 seconds, and that caused significant delays and flight cancellations that do remain ongoing. Now, as I just...
a United Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing in our area at Newark Liberty Airport.
That flight was dealing with a mechanical problem. 176 passengers and 6 crew members were on board that plane, which took off from Newark just before 6 o'clock yesterday morning, bound for Vegas. But about an hour into that flight, the pilots informed air traffic control in Newark that they were experiencing a mechanical issue and would need to return. The aircraft landed without incident and passengers got on another Vegas-bound plane.
A scary moment caught on video. This on board a Frontier flight going from Denver to Houston.
Police say a man had to be held down after he started throwing punches, eventually cracking the plane's window. Happened Tuesday night as the flight departed DIA. Witnesses say about 20 minutes into the flight, a man started punching the seat in front of him as well as a window. Several passengers helped restrain him, seating him and calming him down for the rest of the flight.
People started calling security and police, but there's no security or police. And so, like, luckily, there was a group of guys that was willing to pitch in and do it. But yeah, I think, and I'm glad that they had plexi-cuffs, but it took a while to find those. Like it just didn't really seem like there was a process and procedure for an incident like this.
Police.
We begin tonight with new details on an unruly passenger aboard a Southwest Airlines flight that was bound for Phoenix. That flight didn't even make it off the ground, turning back to the gate after a woman stripped completely naked and started cursing at the flight crew. At one point, passengers say she tried to get inside the cockpit. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
This is a wild story.
We continue to follow breaking news out of Pearson Airport this afternoon. Peel police are responding to a crash at the airport. We do have some video coming in, but we do want to let you or give you some details as to what we know so far. Officials confirming the incident involves a Delta Airlines plane landing here from Minneapolis. Peel paramedics tell City News up to 8 people have been injured. The extent of those injuries is not yet known, but a source confirms to City News this is not fatal. So this is the video that we have in our newsroom right now. You could see the Delta plane upside down. You could see the wheels are up. You could see flames are being doused. Earlier on in that video there, people were being helped off. And once again, this is video that is coming into our newsroom of this incident at
Disturbing moments on board this Alaska Airlines flight as a passenger appears to lose control. A flight attendant jumping in to subdue the man, at times punching him, trying to get the passenger to release the hair of 32-year-old Erica Ramos sitting in front of him.
I told her for hair, sir. I really wasn't sure what was happening in that moment. I was afraid that this person was going to start punching me.
Erica escaping the seat and the flight attendant calling for backup. Erica says the attack caused painful swelling and she's still getting headaches 9 days later. There was a moment where we actually see your face in that video turn around and look at him. What were you thinking, and did you say anything to him?
I did not say anything to him. I think I was just really in shock from my understanding.
Tonight at Chicago's Midway International Airport, an investigation after yet another stunningly close call. The video captured on an airport webcam shows Southwest Flight 2504 nearly touching down. The same moment a private jet crosses the runway. The flight abruptly pulls up, averting potential disaster.
Southwest 2504 going around.
It was surreal. Passengers Emily Novak and Kaylee Mask were on board the Southwest flight from Omaha. What went through your mind when you saw the video?
Shock.
Yeah.
Because we were so oblivious to what was happening.
Some very tough moments for multiple families on a flight from Australia after a passenger unexpectedly died on board the flight. The body then seated next to an Australian couple for hours. The couple says it happened during their 15-hour Qatar Airways flight from Melbourne to Doha. The airline, in a statement to NBC News, offering their condolences to the relatives of the person who died and apologizing for any distress. We don't have any details on the passenger who died or their cause of death. Kelly Kobiea is joining us now. Just a difficult situation for so many here. When somebody dies in the middle of a flight, the crew kind of figuring out what to do. The couple says there were other seats on the plane. What happened here?
In cases like this is to move the deceased person to a seat with few passengers or to a place with no passengers, if at all possible. But look, here's what happened. The husband and wife, Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collins, said the fellow passenger, a woman, came out of the restroom about 10 hours into the flight and collapsed very close to them in the aisle. They said the flight crew did everything they could to help her, but that she simply couldn't be saved. Ring says the crew then tried to move her up to business class with an onboard wheelchair, but struggled to get her, move her through the aisle. And that's when he said the crew looked at him, saw seats available in their row of four, and asked if he could move over, at which point they placed the woman in the seat he had been sitting in and covered her with a blanket. Now, Ring's wife did move to another seat at the invitation of another passenger, but he says the crew didn't offer to move he and his wife and that he stayed put for 4 hours. He said the flight crew then told them to remain seated once they landed as medical staff boarded and handled the woman's body, as well as police, right in front of him. Now, the protocol in that instance is actually to disembark other passengers first before paramedics and police board to take care of the body, preserving the dignity of the deceased as well as the sensitivities of those on board.
A U.S. Navy fighter jet lost at sea from the aircraft carrier USS Truman. The aviators had to eject during a nighttime landing on the deck of the carrier. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest. And Mary, we know this comes after a $70 million fighter jet went overboard in the Red Sea, just last week, Mary.
Yeah, Robin, it is hard to believe, but another Navy fighter jet has sunk to the bottom of the Red Sea. It is the second stunning and expensive mishap in just over a week. Now, this time, an FA-18 fighter jet was attempting a nighttime landing onto the deck of the USS Harry S. Truman when the crew.
And in New Jersey, major disruptions happening at Newark Liberty International Airport. That is a pivotal hub in the New York City area. And an FAA equipment malfunction has essentially made the whole place shut down. That happened earlier this afternoon. Chaos continues. Countless flights were either delayed for several hours, if not canceled outright. Some planes were stuck on the runway while others kept circling in the skies, waiting to land. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky.
Turning to a national story, a developing story. Brand new video tonight, folks, shows the moments that a helicopter crashed into the Hudson River in New York. The chopper appears to fall apart in midair, losing pieces on the way down into the water. The crash taking place around 3:30 between Manhattan and the New Jersey waterfront. Officials say that it killed 6 people, including the pilot and a family of tourists from Spain. Authorities have recovered what's left of the helicopter as they investigate what caused the crash.
Hear everybody say, get down, get down, get down. And when everybody say get down, we all get down. But I just see the plane is getting lower and lower and lower. It nipped the house. When it nipped the house, it hit a couple cars. Boom! and to the plaza and to the Dunkin' Donuts, everywhere. I never seen nothing like that a day in my life. I have never seen nothing like that. You got dead bodies over there, cars burnt up as I showed you from the gym. It looked like a movie. Like a movie, like, damn, is this really happening? Then you hearing everything blow up, boom. Then you seeing the cars that was just there, they just going up in flames. Like, I think it's an act of war.
Meanwhile, federal officials are also investigating a deadly plane crash upstate New York. The small plane crashed just after noon today near Copeg. According to the FAA, the plane was headed to Columbia County Airport when it crashed. 6 people were on board. Columbia County's undersheriff confirms fatalities but would not say how many people died. No word yet on the cause of the crash. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating.
We are following that breaking news from Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. Last night, a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight over the Potomac River. First responders are still on the scene. ABC 7 reporter Lena Howland is live in the studio this morning. And Lena, you were listening to a news conference that wrapped up in the last half hour. What did you learn?
Well, Gloria, officials are saying while their search continues, they do not believe there were any survivors, and they have now transitioned into recovery mode. So far, according to numbers provided by the medical examiner, 27 bodies from that American Airlines flight and 1 body from the helicopter have been recovered so far. That means search crews.
It was so shocking.
Passengers on this Southwest flight couldn't believe what they were seeing.
This is getting crazy. Like, this is something that you see out of a movie.
A woman on the plane stripping completely naked.
Wait.
Walking up and down the aisle. Was it a packed flight?
It was very packed.
We spoke with one of those passengers who asked to remain anonymous. She said they had just boarded the plane in Houston and were about to leave for Phoenix when the woman, while fully dressed, walked to the front of the plane and started yelling.
I do remember her saying that she wanted to get off the flight.
The passenger also said she heard the woman yell that she was bipolar. Then when the plane started taxiing,
an airport argument turns into a brawl. Fists flying among flyers in Atlanta.
Oof.
Now, at least 8 people involved as passengers battled at the gate for a Spirit Airlines plane. By the time officers got there, the melee was over. No word on what caused the fight. With so many airport or flying-related incidents making headlines, some people are thinking twice about flying.
Delta flight headed for Spain was forced to turn around because of an unfortunate situation.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.
All the way through the airplane, yeah. Sadly, for those passengers, the
pilot of a small plane dies after a crash in Southern California. It happened in a residential area in Simi Valley this afternoon, and you can see significant damage to the roof of a home. There were no reports of injuries to anyone on the ground. The FAA says the pilot was the only person on board the plane. Right now, investigators are working to figure out what caused that crash.
3 people were killed and another is hurt when a small plane crashed this morning in South Florida.
It happened after the plane left the Boca Raton airport. The Cessna 310 went down near a major interstate and even pushed a car onto railroad tracks. The plane burst into flames when it hit the ground, injuring a person in a nearby car. The FAA says the plane was headed to Tallahassee. And keep in mind, this all happened just one day after a sightseeing helicopter in New York broke apart in midair and crashed upside down into the Hudson River. It killed the pilot and a family of 5.
A shocking incident unfolded on a Southwest Airlines flight from Philadelphia to Chicago. A female passenger allegedly stripped naked and defecated on her seat as the plane was landing at Midway Airport. This bizarre behavior left fellow passengers, including children, stunned and disturbed. Witnesses reported the woman's actions caused chaos, forcing the crew to take the plane out of service for a thorough cleaning. Police were called to the scene, but no charges were filed as the passenger was taken for a medical evaluation, suggesting a possible mental health crisis. This isn't the first